afternoon, everyone. My name is Patrice, by the way. It's all good. So I come from California. I'm 30 minutes away from Los Angeles, so rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. We are the biggest state to have the most mental health professionals. I think we have like over 50,000. So in California, mental health is as common as going to get kale or vegan food. That's what we do in California. We go to therapy, we eat kale, and we eat vegan. So when it comes to mental health in other states and other areas, it's still highly stigmatized. And being that I am a therapist, I do own a private practice, Empire Counseling and Consultation, but I also work in an agency. I am a clinic director for outpatient substance abuse, and I am tackling the epidemic of opiate abuse. So I want to talk to you today about some of the mental health stigmas and what we can do about them. Okay, so it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way. And when it comes to mental health stigmas, I want all the smoke. I want all the conversation about it, because we can really help each other without always having to put each other down. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. And I think a lot of times when it comes to mental health, because it's in our minds, people don't take it as seriously as if somebody has high blood pressure or cancer. We don't tell people you don't have cancer, but we're quick to tell them they don't have depression. And so that's a really big problem in our community that I tackle every single day with my clients. So how do stigmas begin? Well, it stems back to slavery days. A lot of times we were used as experiments. I am currently in my doctoral program at the Chicago School of Professional Psychology, and my dissertation is Barriers to Mental Health Treatment for African American Men. And as I've been doing my research, I have seen a few stories about specific slaves that have gone through experiments without any anesthetic or anything. They were pretty much being operated on alive. And so we have a slave named Fed who was left in a pit in 120-degree weather to see how long it would take for him to sunburn and get dehydrated. That man was left out there for 21 days. Also, back in the slavery days, a lot of times the slaves didn't want to make it to summer because they knew that when summer came, they were going to be experimented on. So they would pray to God that God would end their lives before summer began. So this goes back way, way, way longer than 20, 30 years ago. We're talking about generations. We also got misdiagnosing of mental illnesses among Black people. There's a lot of medical mistrust with non-Black doctors, okay? They think that we have a high pain tolerance, that we don't feel pain, therefore they will give us higher dosages of medications, and this goes for psychiatric medications. So when people are on medications and they're having outbursts or they're having thoughts of suicide, 9 times out of 10, it's because the dosage they were given wasn't the proper dosage. It was a higher dosage. So we got a problem with that. We also have a problem with separating the church from mental health help. A lot of times people feel like they have to choose between their religion and therapy, and that's not true. So when you have all of these going on, this is why we're very silent about the struggles we have internally with our minds. So we're going to tackle religion. Okay, so I am not a pastor or anything like that, so don't come for me with this slide, okay? This is something that can be subjective, but I wanted to highlight that the people that we study in the Bible very well were going through mental health issues as well. Yes, these terms are very westernized, but if we really look at it, they had a lot of things going on, and a lot of them weren't getting treated for it. They were going through the motions, suffering. We got Sarah and Hannah who were going through depression, grief, infertility. Job, the book of Job is all about depression. Okay, he got me through college and still getting me through college. So you got Cain, got anger management. Lord, that man had an anger problem for real. Jesus even had anxiety, depression, and had to go and relax and get his mind right back together. You got David who has depression. So when we look at therapists, I know a lot of times certain church members and things like that feel like therapists are worldly and they can't really help. This is something that you need to take to God. But if you really look at the Bible, they had wise counsel, which was God appointed people to help. And in ways, therapists are too. I can say right now that God told me at the age of 9 that I was going to be a therapist. He told me that I got to go help my people. And he told me I was going to be helping people in prison. Now, I am helping people on an outpatient basis, but I am God appointed. God told me this is what I'm going to do, and this is why I'm standing in front of you today. So therapists can definitely help And you don't have to sacrifice your religion for it. There are faith-based professionals that are available. You can have a Buddhist therapist, you can have a Christian, Catholic therapist. They will do Bible study with you, they will pray with you, they will correlate your issues to the Bible, whatever the case may be. You don't have to choose one or the other, okay? You can actually ask your therapist if you're looking to go to therapy to, if they include any faith-based practices in their sessions, or if they believe in a certain religion. That's your comfortability. It's okay to ask. If you want to incorporate some things that come with your faith, do so in your session. This is all about your healing. It's not about theirs. And you do not have to choose between your faith and therapy. You can always have both. Always have both. You can pray before a session, you can pray after a session, you can pray during a session. Whatever you want to do, this is based for you. So the biggest stigma is therapies for crazy people. Can anybody define what a crazy person is? Because low-key, I think I'm a little too. I think it's based off of what society feels, but we're all individual people, right? So what is a crazy person? I don't understand what that is. But what I can tell you, what mental health, what we do know about it, is that we have this big book called the DSM-5, and it's the manual to identify a mental illness. So we have over 700-800 pages of different diagnoses that you can, and I can tell you right now, every single person in this room can find a diagnosis in that book. They got PMS in there, they got everything in there. So nobody's exempt from that book. What we also know is that it can be treated and managed. If you have a mental illness, that doesn't mean that your life is over. There are medications, there's therapies, there's different coping techniques that you can use so that your life can be managed. It can cause hardships. We know that mental illnesses can cause you to lose your income, your family, your friend, your employment. These are the reasons why we can't go around not treating our mental health, because it can create hardships in our lives. And 1 in 5 people suffer from mental illnesses. So that's even smaller in the Black community, and a lot of ours is untreated. We think it's just life. We go around thinking that nobody cares that life is hard. We're Black. This is how we were born. Suck it up. That's not true. And in turn, this is what it's turning into, is that we're not able to fend for ourselves. We're dying by suicide. Did you guys know that 7 to 8 Black men a day die by suicide? That's not even including the ones that are incarcerated or whatever the case may be. So we have 7 to 8, and that's what's reported. I think that the numbers could be a little bit more higher than that. So this is what I'm saying. We have to take care of our mental health. But let me tell you what it looks like. Being productive at work, but a couch potato at home. How many of y'all know somebody, or you're someone who can act like they got it all together? When they get home, you fall apart. You snap the bra off, you take the wig off, you put your sweats on, you may eat right, you may not, you binge watch on 11 hip hop, and you don't sleep at night because now you got thoughts running from like 1993 when you messed up on the playground to what somebody said at work and how you don't want to go to work, and so now you're up all night thinking about, I gotta go to work in 6 hours, how I'm gonna make it. That's what depression can look like. Cutting out people so you can be alone. We got this whole mantra, toxic people, I'm gonna cut them. But sometimes toxic people can look like people that just made mistakes and we need to forgive and move forward. But what depression looks like is that you're ready to cut them off. You wanna cut off everybody so that you're isolating yourself. Isolation is real when it comes to depression or anxiety. Having a lot of friends, but having meltdowns when it comes to hanging out with them. There's a lot of us out here that say we got a lot of friends, but when it's time to go to the club or go to a restaurant or go somewhere, we're thinking about what we're gonna wear, what they gonna say about what we're gonna wear. Oh my gosh, all these people, what they gonna say about me, what questions they gonna ask me. You know what, I just ain't going. And then you mad at yourself for not going, so now you're depressed. Oh my gosh, my friends are gonna hate me. Why am I like this? I just wanna curl up in a ball and cry. That's what depression looks like. So it looks like all of us in this room. At some point, all of us have had symptoms of anxiety, depression, mood disorders, but it's not debilitating our lives. So we can't be judgmental for those that that may have the same issues, but it's more debilitating for them. Okay, so about this slide. So I created this infographic in February of this year. I was sick this day, so I just posted it on Twitter, and I went back to sleep. And within 30 seconds, my Twitter was blowing up, okay? Let me tell you, between this one and the slide that's gonna be coming after this one has been shared over 30,000 times on social media. okay? Because nobody knew that this was depression looked like. So we got black men who all this stuff looks like common life. That's what I keep hearing. And let me tell you, people came for me on social media. Why you gotta be so loud? This is what everybody go through. Why it's gotta be black men? I never said that this was the only signs in black men. I said these are 6 signs of depression in black men. So we got anger, where you're having anger outbursts, you slamming things, you hitting walls, you may be hitting people, or you may be having anger outbursts to the point where your job is putting you on a final or firing you because you keep having outbursts. You got loss of focus. It slows down your ability to process information, so you can't concentrate at work or other tasks. You got substance abuse. Okay, I come from California, where the weed is real and legal, okay? So everybody talking about that's how they cope with it. We don't think that's a problem. Why do you have to be high to deal with life? But it's legal, so it's not a problem. I don't think so. Or alcohol. How many times we hear people gotta go get a glass of wine after work or end up drinking the whole bottle or taking shots to the point where they're drinking the whole liter? That's a problem. That's not how life is supposed to be worked. Sexual dysfunction. A lot of times in men, if they're depressed, they're having problems with sex. They cannot get an erection. That's a problem. And they get suicidal thoughts. Men are 4 times likely to die by suicide. And I already told you about the 7 to 8 black men that die daily. You could check that statistic with the American Association of Suicidology. So a lot of people came for me with this one. Then you go to this one, and people really came for me, okay? And when I tell you they came for me, even the black men came for me. What's the big deal? Everybody got anxiety. This ain't nothing. So black women didn't come for black men when I put it up the infographic for the black depression. They actually reposted it and told the black men that they need to go and seek help. But when it came to black women, they came for them. Y'all ain't anxious. This is just life. Y'all just need to get over it. This is the biggest problem in the black community. We don't support each other. Why are we going against each other? Why are we comparing our lives to their lives? Everybody functions differently. So when you have anxiety for black women, goal avoidance, how many of us are holding ourselves back because we're afraid we're gonna fail? That's a big part of our anxiety. You got nervous habits, you got stress and outings, self-medicating. That wine, I'm telling you, Scandal, Miss Olivia Pope was self-medicating on that wine. She had the biggest glass of wine, I remember. You got physical health issues, worrying all the time. Worrying keeps you up at night. So this right here is what I'm talking about as far as what mental health and illnesses look like. This is what it looks like. This isn't the checklist of you're overeating, you're oversleeping, you're scared about things. These are the common things that we're experiencing every day that nobody even knew was considered anxiety, depression. And this is why we have to be more mindful with each other about what we say. So I'm gonna play this clip. Now, don't come for me with my video either, because I had to record this myself because they will say that I'm breaking copyright laws, and so this is why it's filmed this way. So I want you to check this out.
So how was therapy helpful for you?
I mean, it was good to talk to somebody professional, somebody that know about it. You understand what I'm saying? Because if I'm talking to like Trick or one of the homies, we gonna talk, we gonna drink, we gonna kick it. But when I'm sitting down with a doctor, I'm getting advice from a mother that know mental health. So the
You don't feel like you're out alone.
yeah, it was like, cause I was coping with that better than your homeboy saying, man, you know I went through the same thing. Yes, jump behind me. Hit the joints. Get a couple of this.
Do you feel like there's a stigma against African-American men getting therapy?
I mean, cause we got our own therapy.
We don't think we need help. I'm
do
stressed out. Let's go have a drink.
Let's go turn up,
Yeah,
man.
I'm
having a
stressed out,
bad
man. I need to smoke me one. And that was our counsel.
But that's how it also get normalized in the community, because we self-medicate. We don't go see somebody and let them tell us that, yo, no, that's not right. You really up.
This whole situation, we all love you, big.
So that was a clip from Love and Hip Hop Miami, and I don't know too much about the Miami cast, but I believe, I don't know his name, my bad, but the guy that had like the dreads, there was an incident where I guess a police officer walked up on him and he didn't know who he was, so he pulled out his weapon, and the cop almost shot him. So he's going through some PTSD because he wasn't sure what was going on, and in a blink of an eye, his life could have been taken. So he's giving them the account of actually going to see a therapist and not going to his group of friends to smoke and chill and talk about it, because at the end of the day, I love my friends and family, but they biased. And so the advice they're going to give me is things that they want me to do, not what's best for me. And so that's why it's important for us to be okay with talking to therapists, because the therapist is all about you and giving you the tools to understand what you need to do, not what we feel like you need to do. We're looking at it from, what do you think you need to do? You actually talk about what you need to do. We don't tell you what you need to do. So that's what mental health looks like. It looks like somebody that was self-medicating, not really going to therapy because they thought that their homies was going to look at them funny. It took them a show to pay for it, for him to go to therapy and realize that that's the best thing and not his friends. So this is what our mental health can look like. Okay, so here are some mental health myths. Everyone needs medications if they're diagnosed with a mental illness. You do not need medications for every single mental health illness. Okay, there are some like mood disorders, you got your psychotic ones like schizophrenia, things like that, where you do need stabilizers and medications to help you balance out what's going on, but you can very well live with anxiety, depression, some types of bipolar without having medications, as long as you have the right coping skills. Now, if you have the coping skills and you still seem like you're struggling, it's okay to get on medications. It's not gonna hurt you. Why can't we take vitamins? Why can't we take ibuprofen? Why can't we take Aleve and not have a problem? When it comes to Zoloft or something, we gotta classify it as you a crazy person. You're a person that's taking care of yourself, right? Vitamins help us. Why can't your medications help you? Talking to someone about issues is a sign of failure, immaturity, and weakness. How many times have we held ourselves back from talking to each other because we didn't want to be judged? We felt like we had to have it all together. And I know, especially in the 20s, we feel like if we don't have our kids, a good job, a house, and a car, that we failed in our 20s, when not realizing that the 20s is the years of the building. And so we don't feel like talking to each other about certain things because we feel like we're at a place where we should be at a better place, and so we don't want our friends to judge us. But in reality is, when you don't talk about it, your mind is circulating with all these negative things, and it gets you to the point where you almost feel like, why am I living anymore? And that's when we start hearing about suicide ideation and suicidal deaths. So it's important for you guys to talk to someone if you're having problems. That person can be that ear for you to let your things come out, as well as tell you to go to therapy. Sometimes our friends need to tell us to go to therapy. I tell all my friends to go to therapy. I am not their therapist. It's okay to go talk to someone. Therapy is too expensive. I'm not going to lie up here and say that therapy is not expensive. I'm not going to say that it can be a whole extra bill. But I do know that if you have insurance, that a lot of insurances will give you a low copay of $30, $25. Some of you guys do have deductibles where you have to meet a high deductible, and therefore it can be expensive. But there are inexpensive ways for you to get therapy. You can go see an intern. You can see a trainee who is still going to school and getting their hours. You know, they have really good skills as well. There's platforms called Open Path where every session is no more than $50. There are ways for you guys to get therapy. As well as, too, is that it's all about managing the money. I don't understand how someone who can own 7 pairs of red bottoms, 4 custom wigs, driving the latest and greatest Mercedes, and telling me that they can't afford therapy. Your Christian Louboutin, 1 pair can get you 5 to 6 sessions, and that's on the higher scale of the therapy price. So it's all about making availability for your money to what you think you need. You can go to a personal trainer. A personal trainer is just as important as a mental health therapist. So we have to make sure that we don't give the excuse that it's too expensive. It's an investment into your health, period. Okay? Only white people need therapy. No, we all need therapy. Black people definitely need therapy. We have PTSD from just listening on the news about police shootings, our brothers and sisters getting shot in the streets. These are things that are constantly affecting us. You guys aren't even realizing it. Everybody needs therapy. So it's not only a white people thing. Praying is stronger than talking to someone. You can do both. both is good. Sometimes we're looking for a little bit more of a quick relief in our problems, and so praying is good, but you may not get the answer right away, or your mind may tell you that your prayers are not going to get answered, and you go into a bigger depression or a bigger problem. It's okay to pray and go talk to someone as well. Another one is, if I talk about suicide, that means that I'm encouraging it. A lot of people are afraid to talk to someone if they know they're experiencing suicide, signs of not wanting to live, isolating, maybe talking about giving their items away. Just because you talk about it with them doesn't mean that you're encouraging them to do it or that they're going to do it. Studies show that most people that attempt suicide don't want to die. They just don't know how to get rid of that pain inside. They want the help. And so it's important for us, if we see it in each other, to talk about it and get some help for them. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about mental health and entertainment. So I want you guys to take a look at this, and it took me a really, really long time. I didn't realize how much the Shade Room posted a day. So this came from last year, so it took me about 2 hours to find both of these, but last year, Shad Moss, aka Bow Wow, has made some statements about feeling like he's lived his life, therefore he feels like he has nothing to live for, and so if he would die today, he would be okay with it. Because he started so young at the age of 9, so he feels like he's seen every country, he's had every car, he's had every house, and so he goes through these bouts of hopelessness of what else is there for him. And so he had posted this tweet, feel like jumping off this balcony. And do you see what people said? Do it then. Please jump, Bow Wow. Exactly what I'm saying. Goodbye, Bow Wow. Oh my God, here we go again, just do it. Hell yeah, just jump already. F man, just jump. What's wrong with that? Everything. No compassion. I know he's a celebrity, and I know a lot of people feel like when people talk about these things on social media, they're seeking attention. Okay, they need the attention. We need to save their life. For him to say this, and mind you, the Shade Room blog has a different caliber of people on there anyways. The fact that he could read that. If he was to die by suicide, what would be the next thing that we would say? Mental illness is real. It was real before it got there. Where were we? We failed. I'm glad he didn't do it. But if he would have, that would have been on us. He's literally telling you he's not feeling himself. I'm glad for this person down here. It says, rest in peace to the famous Jet Jackson. Depression is a real thing. Lee Thompson Young, he died by suicide a few years ago. And so it's a real thing, but this is how we fail our community, by commenting like this. And I checked the pages. These were African Americans. So these weren't trolls. These were us making these comments. Okay, so here's another clip. Hopefully it'll work. Strong Black Woman Syndrome. Do you guys know about the Strong Black Woman Syndrome? Okay, so check out this clip.
I'm just now talking to Greg. I haven't talked to Greg a lot since I've been here on this
What
trip.
is going on? Isn't the surgery coming up soon?
Yeah, sir.
So he's probably just trying to process that.
I get that he's overwhelmed and he's scared, but I am overwhelmed too. It's a lot for me.
I don't like that. I don't want you to be stressed out.
And I don't ever get this emotional about stuff. This is really making me emotional.
Oh my God.
It really is, because I really was friends with you.
No, I know.
We've been tight for a long time. This sucks.
I know.
And I'm so serious, because I never get this upset about stuff. The fact that me and him can't talk.
No, you don't. You barely ever cry about
feel
something.
like we're going back to the same way we came. Like we go keep breaking up.
No, you guys don't even say that.
It's really hard to be.
No, you guys have been
I have to be way out by myself, and I can't talk to him ever. I don't know.
He's just focused on everything that's going on with him.
Yes, Cynthia, but still, it's
not
hate
right,
when people
and it's not
say
fair.
stuff like, you're so strong, and you got it. Yes, Cynthia, but I still have feelings. I hate that word. Like, I have feelings.
And it's okay.
So what do you guys think about the Strong Black Woman Syndrome? It's real, right? So Nene, I watch Housewives of Atlanta. She's the loudest one in the room, right? And she always has a lot to say. But at the end of the day, when it came to her husband being ill, she kept crying out every episode saying, like, you guys don't know what I have going on. I have a lot going on. And the first thing that, one of the things that Cynthia says, like, you're so strong. And she's trying to say, don't cry. Let black women cry. We got to cry. Okay? And if we're talking to you, that means we're tired of being strong. 90% of the black women that I have in my practice are coming to me because they don't want to hear that they're strong. They want to be weak. And so this was the moment for Nene where she's telling the world, stop saying that I'm strong, stop believing that I'm strong. Yes, she has a big bark, I will say that. But inside of her emotions, she's not okay. If you watch the show, she said that her and her husband were planning on potentially getting a divorce before he was diagnosed with cancer. So of course, when you got that epidemic going on, you're not gonna just automatically go and get a divorce. So she has a lot going on, but the first thing that we always tell our sisters is, you so strong, God won't put more on you than you can handle. Nobody wanna hear all that when we going through stuff. Let them cry, be that shoulder. Don't say nothing, just be there. This is a prime example of how the strong black woman syndrome can turn into severe depression or suicide ideation. Okay, so Big Sean. So he just had a birthday a few weeks ago, I believe, and he put this whole video out about, how he wasn't feeling like himself, and so he stepped back from what he was doing and worked on himself and got him a therapist and all that great stuff. So what do you think everybody said when he said all of that? Actually, they didn't. They said, oh my gosh, mental illness is real. Do this, do that. It's a great thing. Speaking out on it. What do you think is the correlation between all the three things that I showed you? That's right. Right. So we're okay with this. We're okay with seeing you after you weathered the storm and all that stuff, and you got a testimony. But when you're going through it, we don't want to hear about it. That's where the stigma starts. We got to stop getting to a place where we're praising this and we're not helping others that are in the other stages. Nene was asking for help. Bow Wow was desperately asking for help, and we over here telling him to do it. We sick of hearing about it. But then when they get to here, we want to repost it and say that this is motivation. No, the motivation should have been back there when they needed us. And this is exactly what happens in the black community all the time. We want to hear about it after you went through it. We don't want to hear about it while you're going through it. Therefore, we're not there for each other. And that's a problem. Okay, let's talk about our black children. Because if you guys have been listening to the news, social media, and all of that, the increase of suicidal deaths with our adolescents have extremely skyrocketed. Okay? So death by suicide has increased for children ages 5 to 11 years old. They're dying by hanging themselves, gunshots, overdosing on mom's opiates, whatever the case may be. They feel like the parents don't understand them. Quote, I had it hard in school too, you'll get through it. How many times I've heard my parents say it, but how many of you have had the same conversation with your parents where they're like, oh, elementary's like this, once you get to high school, it's gonna be like that, or once you're out of school, nobody's gonna care about anything, life is gonna be great. What we're not understanding is that this generation is going through a whole nother level of bullying that I have never experienced and I never want to experience. We got social media. When we had bullying in school, we would bully each other at school, and then once the bell rang, we all went home and act like nothing happened, then we would go back to school and start terrorizing each other again. Now you got the bullies following you home. They don't even care that your mom's with you. They'll beat your mom up too. Yes, and then they'll go on social media and you got the bullying again, and you wonder why our children are feeling like they're drowning. And then when they come and talk to their parents about it, oh, that's just kids. That's what y'all do. Y'all get through it. I've been through stuff like that too. It gets better when you get older. They're not making it till they get older. We got to listen to our children and be more mindful about what we're saying. Get them in therapy. Go to that school. Talk to the principal about bullying. Get on some school advisory boards about the bullying. But just saying that it's going to pass, they're not making it till it pass. And what are we doing about it? They feel trapped. We're praying about it. We're talking about it, but we're not doing anything about it. We even have our youth being beat up to the point where they're getting killed, like the girl that got kicked in the head and they didn't know that she had a tumor. Or the young man that was gay, and they're just having his funeral just the other day from bullying. Bullying is a bigger deal than what we're making it to be. And the younger that these kids are on social media, the worse bullying is getting. And just like there's social media, there's Google, and there's YouTube, and there's Google websites out there that are telling these kids how to kill themselves. It's very sad. So, yeah, adults, we got problems. Young adults, we got problems. But these children, they can't fend for themselves. And they're being resourceful, and they're ending their lives sooner than they want to. These kids don't want to die. They just don't know what else to do. They don't feel like they're being heard. So please, if you guys have children or know of children and you know that they're being bullied and that they're going through stuff, kids are not going to come out and tell you they're depressed. They're going to say, my stomach hurts. They're going to try to stay home from school. They're going to do certain things. Their depression looks very differently. If you're seeing that your child is not the same, please get them into some therapy. Let's figure this out. They're our future generation. They're supposed to be helping this world. Who are we going to have if we don't have them? Okay, so how can we reduce and eliminate stigmas? Increase knowledge of mental health. There's a lot of conversations and a lot of tools that we have in the Black community as far as mental health, but it's about us wanting to accept the information. Everybody wants to hear about it till it hits home. Everybody wants to learn about it till it hits home. Okay, it's not that the knowledge isn't out there. We have to be more accepting of the knowledge and doing something about it. You can always participate in first aid mental health trainings. Those are free. A lot of agencies get a lot of grant money to do these. These are things this is a training that you guys can learn to understand what a mental illness looks like, what are the signs of a crisis versus just not being stable, and what you can do about it. You're not being a therapist, but you're leading them into the right direction of where they need to go. And I know that Atlanta has a lot of mental health first aid trainings. You can actually go to the website or type in Google mental health first aid trainings, and they will give you the ones that are closest to you. And they're going on constantly monthly. Being open to recognizing yourself and others as being human beings. We are not superheroes. And the crazy part about the superhero dynamic is that that's how doctors view us. And that's why we're not getting the appropriate care. That's why when we go to the doctor and we say we're not feeling well, they don't do anything about it because they feel like we have a higher pain tolerance than anyone else. So because they put that on us, we also believe that too. We believe that if our feelings are hurt, that's not enough for us to be sad about it. Recognize yourself as a human being and that the people around you are human beings too. And they have different levels of strength and weaknesses. And for what you may not feel sad about, may another person feel sad about it. We need to be mindful of ourselves that we are humans with emotional and physical issues, and we need to help each other out. And we got to break this generational issues of recognizing health issues. Look at John Singleton. Look at all these men that their families are trying to tell us to go get blood pressure screenings and go get checked for prostate and things like that because we rather make money than take care of ourselves. We can't make money if we're sick. So you always got to put your health first, mental and physical. Okay, so this is another infographic that I just released a couple of days ago. I think it's gotten 10,000 hits right now. There are a lot of ways that we can say things that can be very offensive or not helpful at all to people that are going through it. So I made this chart as an example of things that you guys can say to people that will be more helpful than harmful when they're dealing with this. And it doesn't have to be just anxiety or depression. It can be for bipolar. It can be for grief. It can be for anything. But what do you got to be anxious, depressed about? That's not how we're going to help people. There's a reason why they're feeling that way. Suck it up. I don't know how many times I've heard in my life to just suck it up. Everybody got problems. Stop complaining. Just pray and take it to God. It's all in your head. Stop worrying so much. Things are going to be fine. You have nothing to be depressed or anxious about. You're successful. Or you can put this for the kids. You have nothing to be depressed or anxious about. You don't got no bills to pay. You got a roof over your head. You got food to eat. What you complaining for? A lot of kids are taking that to heart, and they feel like they don't have anybody they can go to talk about their problems. God doesn't put more on you than you can handle. That may be true, but when you're going through it, that's the last thing you want to hear because you already feel like you're at your wit's end with everything. So instead of saying those things, you can say, how can I help? I'm always here if you need to talk. I love you, and I'm here for you no matter what. It's okay to not be okay. I'm here for you. I've noticed you've been struggling a lot lately, and I'm concerned. Your life makes a difference to me. You aren't in this alone. So you can go to my website and actually download this for free. So this can be a tool that you guys can use for yourself, for your loved ones, or if you have organizations, you can use it as well. Here are some resources. So we do have a lot of directories for those that need to find therapists, or even if you know people that are struggling, send them to these directories. You got Therapy for Black Girls. The creator, Dr. Joy, is actually in Atlanta. And I was on one of her podcasts. She's a phenomenal psychologist. You got Therapy for Black Men. You got Melanin and Mental Health. There's another one called Find a Multicultural Therapist. You have Psychology Today, which is the biggest search engine for therapists. The only thing that a lot of people don't like about it is that you can't put a filter as far as if it's a black therapist or not. You just kind of got to scroll through it. But that is a really big search engine. And what's the cool thing about that, too, is that you can actually check off what insurance you have, and it'll list all the therapists that take your insurance as well. You also have My True Circle. My True Circle is a web-based platform for therapists to do online counseling, but you can also find a therapist on that as well. It was developed by a black man that's a mental health advocate. And then for more information about that slide, about the Bible characters, you can go to that book. I didn't just pull it from nowhere. Flawed Families of the Bible, if you want more information about that. And so I'm available on this social media platform. So you guys are welcome to follow me on Instagram, Facebook. Those are my websites. Like I said, if you go to the patriceanddouglas.com website, you can download the infographics for the depression, anxiety, the phrases to avoid. There's also 100 low-budget ways to self-care, which includes deep conditioning to twerking in the mirror. It's a really good tool. Yes, and if any of you guys are still, dealing with the Nipsey Hussle struggle, there is an infographic on 5 ways to grieve Nipsey Hussle, and those are all free to the community. And that is my presentation. If you guys have any questions, I'm ready.
Hello. Hey. I was, as you said something, and it kind of hit home about the kids growing up. I was one of those kids whose mother always told her she can't. I had the I can't syndrome forever. I wanted to do this, I can't. I do that, it's not for you. I encourage my own kids to do what they feel is best in their heart.
Yes.
Instead of me telling them what they can't do. I encourage them to the fullest, still to this day, even though they're all grown. Teach your kids to follow their dreams and stop trying to kill their dreams. Because my mom was a big dream killer. So that kind of hit home when you said that, because I was the one that can't do this, but I'll take it out on other kids until somebody took it out on me.
Yes.
And, and that almost killed me, and I can't do that. And then I became suicidal because I thought he loved me. Mm-hmm. Tried to kill myself again. So
I'm glad you're still here.
I'm glad I'm still here, too, because I got a message.
Yes.
And I tried to share that message. But it's the thing that I see these kids today, like when you say they'll beat you and your child up. I seen that actually happen where I live at in Decatur, and it was sad because I wanted to intervene, but I didn't want to get hurt in the process either. But so I had to call the police, was my best way of intervening. And then they called me a snitch.
Wow.
But I don't care about being a snitch if I'm saving somebody else's life. God can save my life for one more day.
Amen.
So that's what I got out of that.
Amen. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kashina Washington. I don't have so much as a question, but more of a resource for the women in this area. If you are in the Atlanta area, I'm with a company called West Care. These 3 ladies here on the 3rd row are with me as well, and we offer free HIV testing, free Hep C testing, but we also, outside of that, offer free individual counseling, group therapy. If you know someone or any woman who is in need of a free program, you don't even have to have an ID. Wow. We offer that. They can walk in, no questions asked, and get free counseling. it's as simple as an intake. A part of our services that we do as well is we do case management, because we know that before you could even get to what's wrong, we have to get to the core of what's wrong. So
Absolutely.
we offer that for free. We're right on Pryor Street, 827 Pryor Street. We are here. I don't have business cards, but I do have a screenshot of my business card. And so if any woman is in need of that and wants our information, you can see me and I'll forward that to you.
Yes, I definitely would like that, so I can add it to my resource list on my website. So
Okay.
thank you.
Awesome.
Yes.
First of all, great presentation.
Thank you.
Pastors are right now, faith leaders are at an all-time high for suicide, right? Because we suffer from superhero syndrome.
Yes.
And we got a lot of superheroes in the room. I can't not take my work home with me because somebody needs housing or an HIV positive or whatever it may be. But I'm also a husband. I also got bills to pay. I also got my own stuff that I'm dealing
Absolutely.
with. But I don't get the time necessarily, and I know, I should make the time, but I don't get the time. Well, what are some practical things that, when you don't have the time, that you can do to sort of just keep your own stuff in order?
So a lot of people do meditation, of course. There's guided meditation apps, mindfulness practices that are really helpful. It's really hard for somebody like myself that's really busy to really turn off my mind to really meditate.
Right.
So I be thinking about my homework, and then the lady's like, we're all done. Oh, did you fall off track? I'm like, every single time, girl, I was not with you during that whole meditation process. A lot of times I tell my busy individuals, journal.
Okay.
The paper never fails you, and it never judges you, and it's always there for you. You can take it with you in your car. You can take it anywhere with you. That's going to be the place where you're going to get all of this down here, so that you're not going home and you're not taking it with you. A lot of times, too, as much as we do take our work home with us, we have to pick and choose what we can take with us. Some things are out of our control, and some things we allow because we feel like we have to. You have to create boundaries within yourself to know, like, okay, you know what, this is going to be my busiest day today, so I can't take on too many people's issues. Or if you're up to here and you know that you have compassion fatigue, that is the biggest thing in our field, is compassion fatigue. And it happens a lot with social workers, where the next person comes in and they got to take their kid away. They don't even blink an eye. They're like, whatever, all these parents are bad, they all don't need their kids. It's getting to the point where you've gotten this feel for is lost in translation because you've taken on too much other people's issues and burnout. So I would say journaling. There's a coping skill that I give to all of my adult clients, even though it's a kid coping skill. It's called a coping box, but it's like a little container where you put all the things that make you feel good. And the moment that you're feeling overwhelmed, take that stuff out and do it. So that's journaling, that's listening to your favorite song, that's eating your favorite candy, maybe like hand sanitizer, the cooling sensation, a stress ball, whatever the case may be. Those are things that's going to help you throughout the day. Because one thing about therapy is that, I didn't put it on the slide, but the biggest myth is that once I start therapy, I got to come see you weekly and you're going to be with me for the rest of my life. That is not true. If I'm with you for the rest of your life continuously, then we got a problem. I'm not your therapist now. I'm just somebody that you paid to be your friend. So therapy in itself is only supposed to be, unless you're having a really big crisis, maybe once or twice a month. So most of my clients, I see them every other week. And usually I'll put them on a 3-month like, let's see where you're at in 3 months. If you're good, then we're going to be done. If you need some more help, then we're going to figure it out. So therapy is not supposed to be the for-all to help you with your mental health. It's the coping skills that you learn in therapy that's going to keep you going for long term. So the coping skills box, the journaling, reminding yourself that you're not a superhero. Watch for your somatic symptoms. If you're tired all the time, if you're not sleeping very well, if you're snapping at your family, because our family gets it worse than anyone else. We're not going to be mean to other people because that's our paycheck. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to put that smile on. But when I get home, you live with me and you love me, so I don't have to fake it with you. When you start seeing that you're taking it out on your family don't want to come around you, that's where you have to start figuring out what your priorities are.
That's good. Thank you.
But I would say journaling. Start with journaling. It really helps.
So I had a question for you, and I have a similar situation. Although I'm not a pastor, I am a big brother, I'm an educator. So taking on a lot of, I guess I developed compassion fatigue over time. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people who have anxiety and depression, what I've learned, because I have a lot of friends with it, surprisingly, but they all come to me with their issues. But then that's when I learned that they have a person, like they attach themselves to. So like you said, paying a therapist to be their friend is not what you do. But when they do have friends that, one, they don't pay, but then two is like they stick to you. So what are some ways to, one, wean them off of sticking to you, but two, also, what are some things you can do to help them in the process of maybe, in that meantime of finding a therapist or somebody else that they can receive professional help? Because we catch it the most, and it's kind of like, I really don't know what to do or say because I'm not a professional, but there's my opinion. So a lot of people come to me with their issues. I need you to Mike Smith it real quick. I'm just like, well, this is what I would do, but I'm not a professional. But it's kind of like, I don't know what else to do for you. So how can we help them in the meantime before they can get professional help?
Gotcha. So, that question is funny, especially being a therapist. I had to figure out if my friends were my friends for me or if they were my friend because they liked what they got out of me. And so a lot of times with my friends, I've always been that person that they can go to for advice and things like that. But when it came to just like hanging out and stuff, the calls were less. So I'm like, okay, what is my purpose as a friend? Is my purpose as a friend to be your therapist or somebody that I can go to if I need help too? So when it comes to your friends, you have to remind them like, dog, I'm going through my own stuff. Like, all I can tell you is that, maybe you should go talk to someone about it. The biggest thing that a friend can do is encourage them to go to therapy. If they trust you that much with their information and your guidance, then you promoting therapy, most likely they're going to go. Sometimes we got to tell our friends like, hey, today I can't help you today. I'm not mentally there for you right now. Or, hey, have you noticed that when you're going through things, you come to me and I can't give you always the right answer because I'm closest to you. So my answer is going to be biased. For you to get the tools that you need to go talk to somebody that's not so close to you. And this is Mental Health Awareness Month. For Black men, the number one thing that they ask is that their friends encourage them to go to therapy and encourage them like, hey, I cry too. Hey, I'm struggling too. But you know what? I go talk to someone about it. And so being that you are that strong individual for them, you are the voice for them to go and get the professional help. And it's okay if you tell your friends, like, I'm not the professional help. I don't really know what I can do to help you out other than be there for you and listen to you. But let's go on therapyforblackmen.org and let's find you somebody that can listen to you and give you the advice you need. Because the only things that I have for you is things that I've experienced for myself, and what I experienced may not work for you.
Right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So this was pretty great. So I have a question for you, or a situation. So I'm just wondering, I was looking at some of those resources you had up there, like resources for Black women who are in executive positions. Like, so nonprofit is not the same as corporate, right? So a lot of times in corporate, you have all of those resources, But right now, especially in this kind of work, you have all of these Black women who are doing this amazing stuff, and there's like so freaking much on our shoulders, right? And so while it looked like we are living a fabulous life, most of us are still underfunded, under-resourced, overworked, And so those opportunities to really take off and practice self-care, even though we preach self-care and talk about self-care and try and motivate other people to take care of themselves, that don't always happen. I know I've just personally said, hey, this is what this is. I got to go. And so I'm doing it more than I used to do it, but I was even talking today. I was like, I was supposed to take off this month. Maybe I'll do it in September. And so, we find ourselves doing it. So I think like resources are what that look like, because like this work, is really, 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 it's just interesting, and people require, it's almost like that scene that kind of stuck with me, because I don't look at the Housewives show, but just looking at that, like people require so much of us, and as Black women, we don't get an out. So as long as we're doing everything right, we are heroes. But the moment we do one thing that's not right, then people like rip us up.
And we don't do that to them. We take them in, we keep nurturing them, we keep forgiving, we keep pouring into them. But the minute, and I think that's where the strong Black woman syndrome fails us, is because the strong Black woman syndrome is for somebody that looks like they have it all together. Like, I'm pretty sure everybody that's around me thinks like I'm the strong Black woman, but I am sensitive AF.
Okay. Okay.
Sensitive.
You.
So I got feelings. Don't discount them. Yeah, I may talk about mental health day and night, but I be crying too. I be getting my issues too. I got life too. And so that's what we have to be mindful of is sometimes turning off your cell phone. Put it on don't disturb. I mean, if you got kids and stuff, I get it. Don't be putting your phone on don't disturb because that's the 1 minute that your kid needs you. But sometimes having our boundaries of when we're available and when we're not. And this is what I tell people too. When you have issues that you're trying to unload on somebody, ask them if that's okay. Hey, do you have a few minutes? Can I talk to you? Make sure that they're emotionally available because you may get a snapped response like, girl, I don't know, we all got issues. And we don't mean it, but we just sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I say that to say we have to have better boundaries within ourselves. If we know that we're checked out, then we need to let our friends and family know that we're checked out, that we cannot take no more, that we are on an emotional vacation. And if they can't accept that, they don't really love us in the first place. They love for what we can do for them, not who we are. So yes, all the women out there that got nonprofits, I mean, I got a clinic director job. I'm a owner of 3 practices. I'm in school. I know exactly where I'm at. But let me tell you, my friends know when I'm checked out. I will literally put an auto message on my phone. Patrice is unavailable at this time. Check back in 2 weeks. They know if they got a problem, do not call me after 6. If you get me at 5:55, I may answer because at 6 o'clock, that's when I'm off the clock, period. Boundaries. Your family and friends will understand your boundaries. If you don't set the boundaries, they don't know how far they can go with you. Set that standard. Last question.
Just had a quick comment. When you were talking earlier, you mentioned some of the subconscious things that we take in, like as a black man, seeing the news stories about black men getting killed and how things like that affect your psyche. And one of the best pieces of advice I got from a friend is that your diet is not just what you eat, it's everything you take in. And so making sure that I find time to turn off, disconnect.
Yes.
We live in such a connected society that we're constantly reminded of or falsely told that we're less than in
Yes.
so many different ways. And so just want to make sure that we take time to disconnect and get away from some of that, the media that we're always fed.
And that's absolutely true. It's part of my low budget self-care tips, but the first thing that I say is remove any negativity off your feeds. If there's certain accounts like the Shade Room, I cannot follow the Shade Room on my feed because those comments kill me every day. But if I want to get caught up with something, I'll go to their page. Delete the pages that are negative. And when it comes to news, like Nipsey Hussle, I told everybody, stop going to CNN, stop going to TMZ every 30 seconds. You only need to look at the news one time a day, okay? Because the information, you may feel like it's changing, but it's not. What it's doing is creating the loop of trauma over and over and over again. You only need to really watch the news of like the breaking and all that stuff, maybe 7 minutes a day. So choose where that's at. Don't choose it at night so you can have nightmares. Okay, maybe not when you start your day, maybe right in the middle, but limit to what you see. And I'm a big advocate of this. You don't need to repost every video. I refuse to watch Nipsey Hussle's video of him getting shot. I refuse to watch the video of that young boy in New York, Junior, who was chased into that store and was brutally murdered. You don't need to watch it to believe that it happened. Every time you watch that, you are creating PTSD for yourself. Be mindful of what you put in front of you. Thank you for that comment, though.